Hello everyone, and welcome to this new session, this new webinar, where we are going to be discussing about how you can switch from a data scientist career into a robotics engineering career very fast. So that's the point of this webinar. I'm going to teach you how you can do that. And then remember that we have the chat beside here, the video, where you can ask your questions. So in case that some question pops into your mind while I'm explaining, please write it down there, and then we'll address those questions by the end of the exposition of this subject, okay? Then let me start, and let's go straight into the point. So what is the point of this conversation here is because I saw some messages around the internet. This is just an example I found on Reddit. It's from 9 months ago, but this is one of them. Right now it's also happening, the same thing. And it's about the data scientist situation at present. This guy, he's mentioning that there are a lot of data scientist layoffs happening every day. So what is the future for them? And then he says he's a freelancer data scientist and trying to find project is becoming very hard for him, and he understands that this space of data scientists is filled with layoffs, even for the director of AI at Microsoft. So he would like to know about the opinion about what to do and so on. Then this is one of the situations that is happening right now with the layoffs, specifically for data scientists. If you are a data scientist, I suppose that you are because you are watching this video, then let me give you a suggestion about what can you do in order to change your career into something that has more future than data scientist. And what I would propose is that you consider to jump into robotics. So that's my suggestion, but when I'm talking about robotics, you are thinking, oh yes, we're now building the robots and so on. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about becoming a robotics software engineer. This is the one like this guy that you can see on the screen, that he is actually building the software that will work into the robots. It's the robotic software developer, robotic software engineer, that we can say. And why robotics, you say? Okay, so I'm a data scientist. Why should I change into robotics? Well, for two main reasons. First one is because there is a high demand there. You know, robotics is now a fashion, and there are a lot of companies putting their robotics branches, their robotics departments, creating new companies in robotics, and there you can apply for those positions. And also because data scientists, you are very close to become a robotics software developer. So you have a lot of the skills that are already required as a robotics software developer, so you can make a quick transition from your current data scientist career into the robotics software development. Also, let me tell you that is about the salaries. So this is an average annual salary in the United States for robotics developers. And if I am correct, I think that in the case of data scientists, the salary is around this area. And as you can see, there is kind of an increase for robotics. So what things are in your baggage as a data scientist that you already know that is cool, that is good in order to become a robotics developer? Well, you know statistics and mathematics, so you know about probability, Bayesian thinking, linear algebra and calculus, and regression. All those things, they are necessary in robotics. So you are done. This is very good. You also know programming and technical skills like Python, version control, and basic software engineering practices. Those are the three important ones. The other two are an SQL. They are not that important in robotics. But Python is very good, and Git and software engineering, very good. Then also data scientists. As a data scientist, you know about machine learning applied to data, right? You know supervised learning, unsupervised, model generation, feature engineering, and basic deep learning. All those are skills that are being used at present to program the software of the brain of the robot. So very, very good. Then the only thing that you need to do, the next thing, is to learn the missing skills that you have so you can program the robots. Which skills are those? Should be your question. I don't see any question in the chat yet. What is happening? Are you there? Are you sleepy? Go for it. Ask me your questions. It is your future we are talking about. So, which skills? I have done here a map of the 40 most popular skills in the 100 and something jobs that I reviewed in LinkedIn. Okay, this is like a map of labels, but let me filter into something more concrete for you. So I have divided to two main blocks. One is software development skills, and the other is robotics skills. Okay, let's go first with software development skills. In this case, I have divided into three parts. One is about learning about languages that you need to learn. So the first one is C++. C++ is super important for you if you want to work in robotics, because in robotics, C++ is the main language that is used in production. I mean, when you work at a company that is building robotics products, not about research, it's about robotics products, then they need to use C++ in their robots. So you need to master C++. This is the one most difficult. From all the ones that you can see here, I would say that this is the most difficult one. Then also you need to learn about Linux. And I know it's not a language, it's an operating system, but all the robots at present, the modern robots, they are working on Linux. I'm talking here about service robots, okay? The robots that are going to be working here is not for robot arm, autonomous, not autonomous, it's the robot arms that you have manufacturing robots, okay, that they are doing all the time the same thing. That's not what I'm talking about. They use other systems. But for service robots, robots that are going to be working in human environments, then they are programming Linux, the operating system. So you need to learn. Then about programming, you need to know about how to manage open source software. So probably you already know a little bit, but you need to know more about how to contribute to repos in which other people from around the world are also contributing. Then you need to know about unit testing, which is about how to test your code so future pushes to the repo, they don't destroy your code, what is already working. And then how to do continuous development and integration. So how to repeat this process all the time in a semi-automatic way, in the way that you push your changes are automatically tested against unit testing or functional testing, then provided a report, and then if the report is okay, then it's accepted and merged with the branch, and so on, and then continue, and then push into production, for example. So that would be the continuous development and integration cycle. You need to study. I think that in data science, you don't use that much. Then about technologies, of course, the cloud, like AWS, how to use AWS to launch instances, to do trainings in there. Probably you have some experience already. It's okay, but then what about Docker? Docker is very important in robotics for encapsulating functions and then getting them isolated from the rest of the system. And then ROS. If you are a data scientist guy, probably you don't know what is ROS. ROS is what we call the robot operating system, and is like a basic framework on top of Linux that allow us to isolate what is the hardware, what is the robot from your code. So by having this isolation, you can program your software almost like you don't care about the robot. So that is one of the advantages, is just to make you understand, okay, in an easy way. ROS is a lot more, okay, but just to give you the idea. That allows you to program, for example, the robot by using simulations. So you can test your code using the simulations and then switch to the real robot at a certain point in time without changing your code. Okay, that's the magic of ROS. ROS, the most important part here, ROS and C++ with Linux. Those are the key concepts that you need to learn and that probably you don't know as a data scientist. Then how to do that? Then let's go with master C++. So in order to master C++, this is one of the core concepts that you need to learn from this presentation, from this webinar. First, you need to learn the basics of C++. Then I have included here a couple of courses that our company provides. And this one is completely for free, is the basics of C++ for robotics. And then the second course, which is the advanced modern C++. Then you need to master both of them because they provide you with the basis of C++. If you know those two courses, then you know C++. Okay. I have included here the QR code to access this course, and then from there you can find the other one. Okay. Then you can go and do it with those courses that we provide or any other course in the world. Okay, no problem. I'm suggesting those ones because I think that are one of the best when we are talking about robotics. You are going to learn using those courses, using simulations of robots. So it's not that dry, like talking about and C++ and then passing a word from here to there, and then that's very boring. You are learning in these courses, you are learning with simulations, embedded simulations in your browser, and then you are going to be practicing with this robot in the simulation, while learning the C++. Okay, so that's only for the basics of C++. Then you need to go to the second stage, which is study this book. If the previous courses gave you the basic knowledge, you know C++, this one is the one that is going to give you the real deep knowledge of C++. So on the courses, you learn what are references, what are pointers, what are virtual functions, all this. In the book, you are going to learn when to use each one of those in practical situations. Why are you going to use a reference instead of a pointer? Why do you have to put const in this pointer or in this variable? Why? And when to do it and when not? So this is when you start acquiring the real knowledge, the deep knowledge of the work. And then, next step, you have to go to participate into an open source robotics project and solve issues of that repo. So you select one of those that you are interested on, maybe on visual perception, maybe is on autonomous movement of robot, navigation, maybe in robot arms. Select one of those that you like, go to the issues area, and then start solving by applying what you have learned in the previous area. That's how you are going to master C++. Then you need to master ROS2. ROS2 is like the layer that I mentioned to you, and that provides you with some tools like simulations, visualizations, code already done, all those things that help you to develop programs for robots independently of the hardware. And for that, we have created also a series of courses. There are many other courses on the internet. I'm recommending you those ones because they are the best in the world. That's the truth. So that's objectively truth, okay? So you can check there and also talk to other people around the world. They will tell you that this is truth. Then we have created this basics course, which is called ROS2 Basics in 5 Days with C++, okay? Remember, you have to take the C++ version because there is another one about Python. Don't go with the Python. It's easier. It's not the one that you need to learn. Go with the C++. And here the QR code. If you don't like this kind of environment for learning, then you are free to go and search another one, okay? So this is, the important thing is that you master ROS2. I'm recommending you the one here because I think that really is going to help you master the fastest way because you are using real simulations of robots that are executed. So you execute the code and you can see the result in real time. And then it speeds up the understanding. Then, so we have learned so far about the software development skills, right? Then, now, let me go and let me explain you about the robotics skills and AI that you need to learn. You know a lot already about AI. So I have summarized only into extra knowledge that I think that you will not know, probably. One is about computer vision, which is about how to detect and recognize objects, person, areas, whatever, that requires vision to that. So I recommend you that you learn about this subject, computer vision, specifically using, for example, OpenCV or the PCL library, the Point Cloud library. Then also, I would recommend you that you study about SLAM. SLAM is all the techniques that allow us to do robot navigation. And robot navigation means about robots being able to move by themselves autonomously in environments. So they understand where they are of the environment, they understand where they have to go and how to go while avoiding the obstacles around. That will be robot navigation. And one of the techniques is using the SLAM for creating the map and so on. So have a look at that. And then about robotics skills. So you need to know at least basics of this. It's about simulations, how to simulate your robot. This is mandatory. I shown you that in our courses we use simulations. We provide you the simulations already done. But when you go to another job, then you will have to build or manage the simulations yourself of the robots that you are building, right? So you need to understand. Then also about kinematics and dynamics and all the linear algebra that is involved in all those. And finally, very important, the concept of sensors and actuators. So those things, sensors and actuators, maybe are the things that you are less familiar with, because in data science, you are getting just the data and then you don't care from where it comes and where it's going to be. You just analyze and make your clusters or your analysis, whatever you want to do. In robotics, it's not like this. You need to access the data from the sensors, processes, and take decisions based on that you are going to convert into actions for the actuators. And this is in a continuous loop where the robot is changing every time what is sensing. Just a small movement of the robot changes the sensor input a lot, and you don't know what to do. So you need to be familiar with those sensors and actuators, what they are, how they work, how do we take data from one to the, and how we send data to the other in order to take actions. Then my recommendation for learning all this is to build a robot. So you build a simple robot like the one that you can see here on the picture. It's just a basic robot that includes all the parts that you can see in any other robot. So all the other more complex robots that you can see, they are following the same structure with like this robot has. But the only thing is that it's more complicated. Oh, okay, so I think, okay, wait a second. So it was not shown, nothing on the real, so, oh, okay. Yeah, so now it's been on the screen. Okay. Yeah, sorry for that. I thought that I have pressed correctly the PowerPoint. So I was talking here, nobody was seeing, only listening to me. Okay, great. Excellent. Then anybody is still awakened there? Because if you have been just listening to me for a whole lot of time, then I don't know if that makes any sense. Should we continue or what? Tell me something on the chat. So in the meantime that I'm waiting for your question, let me answer the question here. We already have. It says, I am an MS cybersecurity major at NNU. What directions do you think I can pivot and go into? Thanks. Well, I think that so in cybersecurity, so maybe, so you know that robots are starting to be anywhere, right? Then cybersecurity for robotics, I think that it's going to be a huge, it's a huge new space where you can get a job. And there is just very little people working on that, very little. And I suppose it's going to be a major problem in the future because robots are going to be everywhere and we cannot allow people to take control of the robots. And at present, all the people, all the engineers, they are concentrated on making the robots do useful things. But no, almost nobody is thinking about cybersecurity on the robots. Why? Because, I mean, it's another thing to be solved, and then, so we are trying to make something useful. So you have a huge opportunity if you make a jump into robotics right now, into software, robotics software. So my recommendation is that you follow this path that I am telling you. Actually, for your case, let me go into this straight into the showing you this area. I will come back later to the other things. So we have developed a program that allows you to be into robotics development in 6 months. You dedicate. So my recommendation for you will be to follow this path, because it's guiding you from the very beginning, starting from Linux and Python, as I mentioned before, and then getting all the skills that you need in order to get and be able to be working at a company as a robotics developer in 6 months. We also provide with an internship by the end of the environment of this masterclass. And in this program, you are going to be using real robots and simulated robots. So we provide the simulations, like you can see here on the top images, and then the real robot also on the other images you can see here, where the robot, you will see the robot from cameras remotely. So you will be controlling the robots remotely from your home. This Robotics Developers Masterclass is completely online. It's fully online. So you don't have to travel to here to deliver, to take the masterclass. And you will be practicing with real robots and with simulated robots at the same time, because you need to practice. Also, we send you a robot, as I mentioned before, that you are going to be building. You need to build it and then program it and understand how it works, as well as other benefits like creating many, many projects that you can show later, get an internship, etc. So that would be my recommendation, that you take this masterclass program, and then we have curated all the content so you can, in 6 months, you can be up to date. Then you said, you answered, I'm taking your Python for robotics right now and basic math for robotics, then C++ for robotics, then ROS2 C++, then beyond. Yes, I need to work on the real thing, the hardware. Yeah, okay, so what you're suggesting about your path that you are taking, that's correct, okay? So it's good, it's going to work, the path that you are moving. So if you don't need more help, then continue on this direction and you are doing great. The only problem is that you need more hardware, of course, because probably you are only using the simulation, right? Then in that case, if you don't like the masterclass for whatever the reason, then consider taking this other course. It's about building your first ROS2 based robot, which will tell you how to build this robot. You can buy all the parts separately and then start building, and how to program, how to get all those skills that I mentioned before. Then you say, is the Mini Puppet 2 the best choice, or should I do drones? No, the Mini Puppet 2 is also a very good option. The drones is also a very good option. The problem with drones is that drones are a pain to practice with. They are a pain because they are so delicate. You need to have a special area. They have the battery lasts very short amount of time. The sensors that you can put on the drone, they are limited because of the weight and because of the batteries. So drones, that will be my last option. Drones, to practice with drones, okay? Of course, the one that I recommend you is the Fastbot, because it's the most complete. We have thought this robot is even more complete than the Puppet, okay? Because the Puppet is more limited. The Puppet is very cute. That's true. And if you already have a Puppet, go with the Puppet. Okay, so don't think that I'm trying to sell you the Fastbot. If you already have a Puppet, go with the Puppet. You can do a lot of things. In the Fastbot, the thing is that you can integrate more. It is thought for teaching. Okay, it's not for cuteness, but for teaching. And then it integrates all the parts that you need to practice in order to know the basics of robotics. Then the Fastbot, your question says, does your Fastbot comes with the masterclass or it can be bought separately? So the Fastbot, if you enroll the masterclass, it comes with it. So you don't have to pay anything else. It's just enrolling the masterclass, you will receive it at your home. And then we'll tell you when you are going to receive the robot. Then we'll guide you about, now you have to do this, you have to build it, you have to create the drivers, you need to create the simulation, you need to create the navigation, etc., etc. So you will be guided by us when to do each one part, apart from learning all the things. Then also you can buy the, if you don't like only of it, you can buy the Fastbot separately. So you are going to receive one box like this one. Okay, so this is the one that you are going to receive in the masterclass also, but you can buy this box separately, which contains all the parts, like in the, like you can see here on the table, and then you will be able to mount all the parts. Okay, then since I think that I have been doing all the answering the questions for BB Gray. Nobody else has any other questions. Then I think that I'm going to finish by a couple of more advices for you, for all of you, which is I recommend you that you join the Robotics Worldwide list, because this list, it's a curated list from a university of Germany that is providing with all the offers that appears around the world about robotics. So you can find here job positions, internships, PhDs, postdocs. You can see trainings, webinars, summer schools, all interesting things around the world that happens for robotics career. So if you want to take a career in robotics, you can subscribe to this list. It's for free. They are not sending you spam, only interested information, and highly recommend it. Then the final recommendation is that you attend conferences and start doing networking with all other roboticists there. And that's going to be awesome. You're going to learn a lot. There's plenty of super interesting people there. And it's kind of stressful afterwards, because you want to even talk more, but you don't have more time. And with all those people, highly recommend it. Then I have recommended here 3 conferences. The first one is a ROSCON, of course, is the conference about ROS. Highly recommended. This year is in Canada. Okay, so every year is in a different city, so this is in Canada. Then IROS, which is not related to ROS, is related to robotics in general, applications, and also research and education and so on. So highly recommend that. And then the CES, which is about technology in general. It's not only about robotics, but about technology, so you can get many, many ideas about robotics and other things, and maybe combine and devise, maybe, I don't know, create your own company in robotics also. That's also possible. Okay? Then, yes, so we can see that here, my colleague Sonia, she has put the Fastbot link in case that you are interested on getting the robot. And also the course, Build Your First ROS2 based robot. Then finally, in case that you are interested on the Robotics Developers Masterclass, also my colleague, she's going to put a coupon code on the chat where you will get an 11% discount for enrolling the Masterclass, which starts in March. So we are about to get there. Then let me see if there are more questions. Then are these sites where we subscribe to get news about these ROSCON and IROS? Let me see. Yeah, so for the ROSCON, For the ROSCON, there is this, where is the ROSCON? So for the ROS, what I would suggest you, ROS forum, let me see. So it's you need to subscribe. Let me put I'm looking for the link, okay? So what I would suggest you is that you go to the discourse channel of Open Robotics. Let me write it here. So I recommend you there on the chat is the discourse openrobotics.org. Then there you can get all the latest news about ROS. So that will be, yeah, it's not a mailing list, but it's a website that you can visit and then get the latest news about ROS. And then I think that's all for today. We have put the coupon there for the masterclass in case that you are interested. And in case you're not, then so happy to have you here. We are going to finish here today. See you next week with another webinar about how to build your robotics career. See you next week. Bye.